Hey YouTube, Mark Kaufman here, and today I am doing a very quick follow-up on my Chris Reeve large Sabenza. Now, I have just gotten this today, and I really wanted to talk quickly about what I have noticed about this knife and what I have noticed about my Chris Reeve small and Cosi. Now, both of these knives have very interesting blade tips. And this was actually true for the 21 Sabenza and the classic Sabenza and the original. And that was that the tip, when you sharpened it, you ended up getting a little bit of a thicker bevel versus the flat edge here. So at the very tip, you can notice here that the bevel is slightly wider than the rest of the knife. And I just found that to be very interesting. It's not negative. I don't know how that's going to affect the blade in the future, but it's also present here on a much smaller scale here on the small and Cosi. So that was something I've noticed over sharpening these. Now you're probably wondering, okay, you just got this in today, your Chris Reeve Sabenza, but you've sharpened it. Why? Well, personally for me, I didn't like the edge it came with. If you watch my unboxing, should be the video right after this one. The unboxing, I noticed that the edge was just a little bit wonky. I'm not saying that Chris Reeve Knives doesn't know how to sharpen their knives, but it may have been a 5 o'clock edge. They're clocking out, and this was just the last one to go. And the other reason is I found the tip to have a little bit of a burnt end on it. So you can see there possibly that the end here kind of has like a brown tinge to it. It's kind of hard to see, but it has a little bit of a browning there. And that just means the edge was burnt. And this can be done on Benchmades, Spydercos, Gerbers, a lot of different knives. So for me, I just wanted to get rid of that. But the other reason is, I don't know why, but Chris Reeve Knives likes to put a convexed edge on their knives. So for me, I wanted to get rid of that convexed edge. Now, I sharpened this originally to a 1000 grit finish and then stropped it with 2 different polishing compounds, and then you had a polished edge. But I found that there is a little bit of small micro chipping across the edge. Now that is not a problem with the S45 VN, that was just me, because I had actually skipped a few stones in the progression of sharpening this. Now, because of that, I had still a rough, coarse edge, and I hadn't progressed enough to clean off those rough portions. So at the very end, I still had a pretty rough edge, but a polished bevel. So that wasn't really the way to go, so I re-sharpened this, and I ended up leaving it at a 120 grit, and I know it doesn't look like it, but it is a 120 grit finish that is also double stropped. So this has been stropped with a green compound, and that was with 30 passes each side in corresponding passing, and then I stropped it with a white stropping compound, which is significantly finer, and that ended up giving this very clean but very coarse and toothy edge. Now this knife is now hair shaving sharp. It has no problem cutting the hairs off my arm, and it is very sharp. But it was just a few things that I've noticed with this knife so far, and I just wanted to get it sharpened up and ready to go for my use. Now, I'm not saying that Chris Reeve does a bad job sharpening their knives, but for me, it just doesn't do the job for me. Now, overall, I still love the knife. It's still very stiff. I'm going to have to get this thing broken in and used up. And personally, this is going to be an everyday carry. I don't really care what I do with this knife. It will be a knife that I use, and I'm not going to abuse it. I'm not going to throw it in lava or anything like that, but I will use it. It's going to be a tool, and it is a tool that I now have. So just wanted to throw this out there and wanted to clarify a few things with the knife. So till the next one, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.